Good morning folks, this is Naeem Aslam, Chief Market Analyst at AvaTrade. Welcome to our daily analysis segment. Let's begin with that fiscal and monetary policy as always. And when I am speaking of monetary policy, the Fed has introduced another initiative which we didn't see during the financial crisis. What does that mean? That means that the Fed is ready to buy treasuries issued by the Fed from any particular government for cash. Why? Because they wanted to ease off those liquidity concerns, those dollar liquidity shortage in the emerging markets and also in the developed market. So they're buying those treasuries back, flushing this cash, or in other terms, dollar back into the system. But when we talk about fiscal policy, Donald Trump is talking about another $2 trillion worth of budget, which is totally and completely geared towards infrastructure spending. The problem with that phase 4, as it is dubbed now, is that the bickering is going to continue between Republicans and Democrats. Democrats want the large portion of that fund to be spent on environmental friendly projects, where Donald Trump has made his position clear that everything will be spent on infrastructure and improving the infrastructure, and that he wants to do that now while the interest rates are at zero. Now, this should be considered as a positive news in the market, but the market hasn't done that. As shown in the chart, both the S&P 500 index and the Dow Jones index, they dropped massively yesterday. We had a serious sell-off for the S&P 500 index yesterday. And it has retraced, if you see that from the Fibonacci retracement, from its all-time high to the low, it has retraced from its 38%, just to be very precise on that. Now, why that sell-off has really kicked off? The reason is very simple. Investors are looking on two major factors. A is the infection rate or the outbreak, the magnitude of the outbreak over in the United States. B, it is the death rate. Both are really spiraling over in the United States. And as long as both of them keeps ticking higher, I think investors are not paying attention to the fundamentals which were really driving the market, or because of in other words, the factors which really drove the market, the factors such as monetary policy support, fiscal policy support, infection rate going down over in China, and then trading resuming over in China. All these fundamentals, they are no longer in play, and that is the reason that we are seeing this particular sell-off. For investors, only two factors matter, as I said before: infection rate and the death rate of the United States. They are worried if they get out of control in the biggest economy of the world, then we have some serious situation at our hand, and then the measures which are introduced by the central banks and of course by the government, they aren't enough to support this particular sell-off that we are about to see. So the question is the rally has really phased out? My answer is perhaps not if the previous low holds. As long as the previous low holds for the S&P 500 index, I think we are pretty much okay, and the rally may continue. But for that to happen, we really need to see the infection rate and of course the death rate kind of slowing down. And unfortunately, they are not likely to go down for the next 2 weeks or so, because the peak of that curve is still away for another 2 weeks. Now, going back to the commodity space, oil is still under immense sell-off, despite the fact that Donald Trump has walked into the space and then he said that, look, we are ready to curtail oil supply, and then we are ready to ease the tensions off between Saudi Arabia and Putin. But as the chart shows, the crude oil is still very much in a downtrend, and it is sitting right at the bottom of its curve. The curve which is defined as the highest point on the chart, that is the higher point for the curve, and the lowest point on the chart is defined as the lowest point on the curve. You can see we are sitting very much to the bottom of that chart. Now, if there is a ceasefire and Donald Trump becomes successful in achieving that, then it is highly likely for the prices to move higher from here. But if that doesn't happen, And then Saudi Arabia has already announced that it hasn't ramped up its production, oil production, then that means the move is going to continue to move to the downside, and then prices are likely to come close to that $16 to $17 mark. And then perhaps maybe at that particular time, we will see some sort of an action from OPEC and from non-OPEC organization. That's all for today, folks. See you guys tomorrow.